weekly. Because we win, that is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the burn, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best, and we're successful. Come watch our show, Bet River sponsors. It's time to start, enjoy the show.
Welcome along to Betting Weekly Live. You're with Dan Roebuck alongside me. As you can see, Jack Wright. We're going to be talking soccer over the course of the next half hour, 45 minutes or so. Big games in England, Germany, Spain and Italy. Picks, leans, market information, and hopefully some input from you lot as well ahead of the weekend. Jack, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. Yeah, very well indeed. The sun is shining here in the UK, isn't it? It's getting nice and warm, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, been down by the Thames today, took the dog out, very nice. Hopefully
lovely.
The weather will stay with us over the course of the next few days. Welcoming Byron says, what's up everyone? Love me some Rayo draw no bet tonight, and Bologna, Milan, both teams to score. Also, Liverpool are going to murder Arsenal this weekend, sadly. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Rick says, morning everyone. Hope you have a successful weekend betting, looking ahead to the weekend. What else we got? Adam says, afternoon, gents, jazzy intro. Yeah, that one is. I can't remember what it's described as. Some sort of. I don't know. I'll have to look back on it. Duncan, afternoon. The real Brendan King. Jack is back. Yes, he is. Ming says, hey Jack on Dano. Will Wolfsburg be improved today? Don't think so. Is my angle on that one, but you never know with them. They've got rid of Hassenhüttl and got a new coach in temporarily. Daniel says, good morning, lads. Duncan says, bet the weekend, unfortunately, Charlton to beat Wickham on Sunday in the Championship. Jack, you are generally across. Sorry, that's League One, isn't that one? You're generally across all things sort of Championship. I thought we'd just sort of like kick off by having a quick look at how the Championship playoffs look after that Sheffield United win over Bristol City last night. 3-0 win, aided and abetted by what some would say was a controversial sending off. I'm not quite so sure. I've only seen sort of brief clips of it. And now the Blades are minus 155, Sunderland plus 335, Cov plus 350, Bristol City, well, after getting beat 3-0 at home, Jack, you're struggling there. I mean, generally, I'm sure you've done some of the stats on these sort of things. The third best team in the second tier, I don't say always goes up, but seems to have the most chance. Certainly in recent years, there's been a higher percentage of third place teams going up. Would you have picked Sheffield ahead of the playoffs getting underway?
I think you have to. They've been head and shoulders. Well, Leeds and Burnley, who have gone up automatically, of course, and Sheffield United have been head and shoulders above everyone else all season, really. There's been a big gap between those and the rest. So you have to make them favourites. But as you say, it's generally been the case that that's happened in recent seasons. We've seen with that parachute money, with the relegation, there is that division now between the people who have been in the Premier League and dropped back down again and the rest. So it's getting even harder in that respect to kind of break into that monopoly. But Coventry have come close 2 or 3 times. And obviously we saw them a couple of seasons ago, didn't we, where they were a penalty kick away from getting into the Premier League and a toenail away from getting to the FA Cup final against your lot that same season. So it was unfortunate for them there. But it'll be interesting. Look, you got to make Sheffield United favourites now, of course. But Sheffield Wednesday, their City rivals in League One 2 seasons ago, overturned a 4-goal deficit. So it's not all's not lost yet. And one thing you will say now is that 3-0 down, Bristol City have just got to go for it. They've got to go and throw everything at it. And sometimes maybe Sheffield United will be like, well, we'll be a bit cautious here. We've got 3 goals to play with. Early goal, first half goal, 1 goal in the second half, and they can go at it big style for the last 10 minutes, and they just need to overturn that 3 goals, and who knows. But they're not great on the road, Bristol City. Sheffield United don't tend to concede too many, so it does point towards them being at Wembley, but we'll see.
How is this for audio, everybody? I just looked at the comments, and Brian said, Dan, turn your volume up, please. Is that better? I just fiddled with it. And Grazer also says, the Jack sounds a little high or Dan's is a little low. How am I sounding, everybody? Is that better? Just let me know if it's better or worse. Jack, am I sounding all right to you? Can you hear me loud and clear?
You sound as gorgeous and delightful as ever, Dan. So I've got absolutely no complaints whatsoever.
Thank you. Lots of comments coming in regarding the action tonight. Baron says Wolfsburg, LOL. I mean, Wolfsburg are on the beach, aren't they? Let's face it. Joe says, fancy Lampard's Coventry tonight. Baron says, very Cuban. Yeah, that's the Afro beat, says Steve. He must have sort of loaded this up yesterday. Coventry are getting a lot of love on the comments here. Adam says, how Coventry plus money tonight, gents? They've won 9 of the last 11 at home. The 2 they didn't win against the top 2. This is true. Sunderland have lost their last 5, scoring just once. We're going to get to that very, very shortly indeed. Will White, nice to see Will, says, MLS weekend banker. The Rapids to beat the Quakes. That's Colorado to get the better of San Jose. Will, who bets on MLS. That's the MLS banker of the weekend. Take it down now. I don't know what day that is, Will. Let us know when it is, if it's Saturday or Sunday or even the Monday night. I'm not quite so sure, but that's the banker for MLS. Steve says Sunderland form heading into the playoffs has been awful. I sound good now. Thank you. Cool. The fiddling worked. Yes, thank you, Byron. These are what this is. Look. Yesterday, the boys did terrifically well. Stephen James, of course, on the Europa League, but there was I think the world and his wife, Jack, I don't know how you saw it, were on Bodo Glimt to beat Tottenham. Did you back Bodo last night? Were you one of the many losers like me or not? Did you leave it? I questioned Steve. I said to Stephen James, have they been overbet? And they said no. So I followed everybody in with a Bodo bet.
So you're blaming them. I like it. Yeah. No, I didn't bet on that one, to be honest. But yeah, I wouldn't have supported Tottenham, put it that way. I wouldn't have supported Tottenham. So I was surprised that they kept a clean sheet. I was surprised they went and won there as well. And it was pretty convincing, all said and done. And I certainly did. I was watching the Manchester United game. Well, after they went a goal down, actually, I was on the championship game, and then when the red card happened and half time, I was like, well, that one's done and dusted, really. So flicked over and watched Manchester United, and I certainly do not have them down to be winning 4-1 pretty much at any point of time in that game. So tricky ones if you're even getting involved in play there. But no, I dodged a bullet on Bodo for sure.
Yeah, quite a few people back Bodo with Bet Rivers. I mean, all sorts of different bets. Near $5,000 play. Bodo draw no bet plus 105, which was a loser. There was overs bets as well, a $4,000 playing over 2.5, which was a loser. There was Tottenham draw no bet live at a short price, which was a winner, obviously. Also saw big bet for Fluminense in the Copa Sudamericana against San Jose, the Bolivian side. That was a loser. That was a bit of a surprise because San Jose did win the early game between the two 5-0, but they got beat. They beat Fluminense in the second game in the group stages there. Sheffield United double chance, which was a winner, $2,940 at minus 294. So that's $1,000 winner. Well done to you. And also Man United over 2.5 goals, which must have been struck in play early on because it was plus 310. I think the first goal came fairly late on, didn't it, in the first half there. Joe says Bodo were awful. Yeah, this is very true. Byron says raise his hand as Bodo loser, but why would anyone think that Spurs would park the bus? Steve, who was commenting on X throughout the game, said it worried every man and his dog that was on them. Spurs played very well. Amazing what playing sensibly can actually do when you have quality defenders. Ray says, good afternoon, Dan and Jack. And Byron says, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, Spurs played it a lot cannier than I thought they were going to. Friday streams for you. If you have got a Bet Rivers account and you want to log on or indeed use their app, you'll be able to watch Coventry versus Sunderland, which is the EFL Championship game, which we're going to talk about in just a sec. We've also got Las Palmas Rayo live as well. That's in La Liga. We'll take a look at that game for you a little later. Cadiz Almeria in the second tier in Spain is also streamed live, as is Sturm Graz against Salzburg in the Austrian top division. Istanbul Başakşehir against Fenerbahce in the Super League in Turkey. All of the games in the Italian second tier are streamed, as is the tennis from, is it Rome? Is it ATP and WTA in Rome? Because Nigel, Mr. Seeley, We spoke to him, didn't we, on the Premier League show? And we said, "What are you doing this weekend?" Nigel says, "Yeah, I'm going to Italy." He didn't tell us, Jack, that Mr. Holden was going with him as well. I mean,
No,
I dread to think what is going on in Rome with them two. I've
I know.
seen one tweet from the pair. I don't.
Yeah, look out for them later. I think it's all going to be over on Instagram, isn't it? Instagram Live. So that probably would be worth checking out, I would suggest, if their exploits in the past are anything to go by.
Yeah, I don't know if you trawl back through the Instagram feed of either Nigel or Simon or both, when they both went to Prague a few years ago.
Prague,
yeah. They went to, yeah.
I was thinking to mention that. I think it was just after I came on board, and I was like, right, okay, let's have a see what this is about. See if, oh, well, this looks like fun. Yeah, they had a great time. They had a great time.
Chris says, "You boys on double time." Yeah, it's rare. Myself and Jack are back on. Can't wait for Dan's chat. I think it's come and gone. Joe says Spurs won't win the final.
Double time or nothing is quite lucrative, isn't it? Double times zero is it's fun. Yeah, we're here for the love.
Troy's been honest as Simon must have a meeting with a new pope. That's very tragic.
Well, maybe he is the new pope.
Maybe he is the new pope. Maybe Simon's been in the conclave.
I saw a winning ticket on that at 40-1, actually. Not on Simon Holden, on the actual official pope.
On the American guy got the pope, a 40-1 winner.
Yeah.
Was it Pope Leo?
Do you know what? I can't actually remember.
How do you pick the winner of the new pope?
Inside information.
There must be a leak in the Vatican. That's all I can say there.
Holy smoke.
And Bodo Charles says, "Good evening, gentlemen. Took a beating last night. Hopefully Friday night football is kinder." Yeah, let's hope so. We've got 4 games to take a look at here. Let's hope we can find some winners for you. Where are we up to then? Here we go. First one we can take a look at is Coventry against Sunderland. This is the Championship course in England, and it's the second semi-final, first leg. Coventry are plus 123, Sunderland plus 215. Coventry are drifting, and Adam, right at the top of the comments, suggesting he can't believe that Cover plus money. They're drifting a little bit. When I scribbled my notes down for this late last night, they were plus 110, so they've been on the drift here. Sunderland are plus 215, and the tie is plus 190. I mean, as Adam has pointed out, on current form, Jack, you couldn't possibly bet Sunderland at all, could you? I mean, what is it? They've lost their last, is it 5? And Coventry have been so much better. I mean, look, Sunderland finished 4th, Coventry finished 5th. There's the argument that Sunderland have known that they were going to be in the playoffs for quite some time. But they've been absolutely shocking. Lost the last 5, no wins in the last 6. I mean, I'm just thinking, let's not look beyond the obvious here. Should we not just bet Coventry at plus 123 to win this first leg? What's your thoughts on the sort of main markets first up, Jack?
Oh yeah, 100% I've got to. Yeah, I'm slightly disappointed. I'm already on Coventry, but in Nigel's famous words, "Don't be a moron, get more on." Exactly, and I'm going to have to at that price if they keep drifting. It's just I can't look past them. There's nothing that you can work out here, nothing you can look at, be it historical, be it current, that would suggest that Sunderland should be beating Coventry. Coventry should be minus money in my book, and. Yes, Sunderland finished higher than them in the table. And I think the general expectation is, Sunderland can want to start playing. They want to start trying again now. But that's not an easy thing to do. You can't just press pause on your performances and go, right, we're gonna chill out now for the last 5 games. It's not like just one game. Not rested some key players over a game or 2. It's a 5-game run. And Reggie Slabreese said a couple of games ago, right, we've rested now, we've got the recovery in, we're now going with our strongest side to build into the playoffs and go in strong. And they then went and lost their next 2 games. So he put the pressure on himself there by doing that. You look back, since Frank Lampard came into Coventry, there was obviously that usual little bit of banter about him and what he's done. I think he's got a better record than many people realise or give him credit for. They put him in the same kind of basket as the Steve Gerrard and the Wayne Rooney. But you look at when he's come into this football club, he has now got the 4th best record across that period of time since he took over at Coventry. Mark Robins done an amazing job over the years. They always started slow under him and then came strong towards the end of the season. They didn't take a chance on doing that this time around. I think they got a little bit fed up. That seemed to be the trend, and they did make the change. It was contentious at the time. Lampard's come in and has accrued the fourth highest amount of points in the league, behind those three that we've talked about already. The two that have gone up automatically, and Sheffield United that have been on their kind of coattails throughout the course of the season. Sunderland, over that same period of time, are 9 points worse off than Coventry. They're 6 in that time frame table. And so they're not great away from home. And Coventry are extremely strong on home soil. This will be the big game for them to make sure they go and take something to the Stadium of Light and look to have something to hold on to, because they aren't that great away from home. The last time Sunderland beat Coventry was in 2007. So if you even go like historical, that's 11 games ago. The last time they won in Coventry was 1985. So we were at school still then. That's incredible scenes. But
only just.
Yeah, the game was nearly in black and white. But look, more recently, Coventry won 3 of the last 4 meetings on home soil, and they won this 3-0 earlier in the season as well. They've got that momentum. We talked about momentum going into the playoffs. They had to win that last game of the season, and they did. And they did it well, 2-0 against Middlesbrough to claim their place here. They won 7 of the last 8. People have already done the stats for me, talking about their run of form going into this, and that the only teams that lost to recently are those 2 already promoted sides in Leeds and Burnley. So really, really strong form. And as I say, Sunderland lost the last 5. And so they kind of got that point. It was against my team, and I watched that game. They got the point to guarantee them 4th and guarantee them their playoff place. And since then, lost every single game. And they can't score goals. That's their main problem as well. So they've scored 4 goals in the last 10 league games, only 1 in their last 6. And that's just terrible form. They relied on Isidore at the start of the season to bang goals in. His general trend has always been to start a time at a new club really strong, score plenty of goals, and then it dries up for him, goes out of the team, gets loaned out or sold. And that's exactly what's happened again at this moment. I think it's 13 games since he last scored, so he's likely to be leading the line. So, yeah, for me, Coventry just tick every single box. Obviously things aren't that simple. We know that, but plus money at home, first leg. Sunderland would take a tie here, no question about it, and they probably would sign for a single goal defeat. So I think you've got to be all over Coventry at plus money.
I mean, as I say, I wrote this down last night when I was looking at some of the stats for the show, and they were plus 110. They're now plus 123. I don't really understand the drift. I don't know if Will's still with us watching, but Will's usually got a handle on market movements and not necessarily why they've moved, but he can sometimes sort of indicate and tell us if there's money coming for some sort of syndicates or whatever. I mean, Brad Betts Footy says all these championship and playoff matches are pretty much stay away from me. Doesn't get involved. He says the volatility is insane. There's a second leg, so nothing is decided. I mean, that is true. And then the mysterious A, who just goes by A, says, for me, it's Sunderland, double chance and under 3.5 goals. Not convinced on Coventry against the better teams in the championship. I mean, it is odd how it's all turned around, because Sunderland for a long time you thought were sort of in that little band on their own. They weren't going to go up, but they were so much better than everybody else. But they, and Enzo Lafay came and looked a real superstar at that level. Brad Betts says Sunderland would die for a draw. Adam's saying Coventry Newcastle double at plus 400 is strong play for me this weekend. I just don't want to look beyond the obvious here. I just look at this and think plus 123. I started to try and get a little bit clever, and I thought maybe I should just back Coventry to qualify for the final. You can get plus money on that. Coventry to score the first goal. There's a lot of stats that suggest that around a minus 110 just to score the first goal is a bit of a play here. But let's just, for me, I'm backing Coventry to win this. I mean, any thoughts 100%. On any other props or goals or anything else that you like? I mean, I started to look at unders because Sunderland can't score, but Coventry's numbers maybe suggest that it might be a 2-1 or even a 3-0. I'm not so sure. I'm going to leave the overs unders. Have you got anything else for us in the Championship playoff semi, Jack?
Yeah, a couple that I like for people that want to stay away from that main line but want to have an interest in it. I do like Coventry for most corners. You would expect them to be front foot, like we've already talked about, and the reasons why behind that. When these two met in March here, as I said, it was 3-0 to Coventry. They won the corner count 6-1 that day. I was initially looking at unders for corners because neither of these sides have loads of corners in their games, which then led me on to the fact that I like the fact that Coventry having more corners. 15 home games under Frank Lampard. They've won they've taken 83 corners and conceded 64. They've won 9 of those games as well on the corner count, tying 2 and losing 4. But they've won 6 of the last 8 corner counts. And Sunderland have only won 3 of the last 10. So for the reasons we expect Coventry to be front foot, they are the home side after all. You expect them, whatever the game state, you'd expect them to be the aggressor in this one, which always leads itself to corners anyway. Sunderland don't win too many. That one looks decent at minus 125. Coventry most corners. I expect Coventry to take 3, 4, maybe even 5 more corners than Sunderland here. So you could even get the famous Steve Wissletter out for this one and look to possibly play the handicap lines as well on it. And if you're looking for a player, everything for me points towards Jack Rodoni. Superb form this season, and there's lots of markets you can get involved in with him. 9 goals and 12 assists across the 43 appearances in the Championship this season. Superb. Ended the season really, really strong as well, which is important. Scored both the goals in that 2-0 win against Middlesbrough. 6 goals and 5 assists in his last 13 appearances, and he had at least 1 goal or assist in 10 of his last 13 matches. So in really, really good form. He missed the home game that we talked about there, but he was involved in the away game at Sunderland. 3 shots, 1 on target, and scored a goal. So he's plus 205 for a goal or assist, minus 114 for a shot on target.
Love that. Watch out for Rodoni. Terrific player. Duncan says 3-0 Cov. Something along those lines. Bing says, I agree with Jack. No case for Sunderland here. Adam says, I like 2-0 as well. Don't forget that it was 3-0 to Cov just 7 weeks ago. Giuseppe's with us. Joe says, why doesn't Jack Wright take Haji Wright? Are you related to Haji Wright? Is he your brother?
Brother from another mother, indeed it is. Yeah, you've rumbled it. Yeah, we're...
The Night Fox Spy says, I think Sunderland come to party tonight. So do you think they're going to win? The Night Fox Spy. I mean, I'm backing Coventry. I'm fearful that Sunderland are just going to pull out some early season form, but you can't recommend. You cannot recommend Sunderland at all. If they win, they win. You know, it's that.
I tell you what, I think everything, as I said, points towards a Coventry win. I've played the Coventry win. I'm going to play it again as well because of that drift. I want it, so I'll take the extra money on that as well. And you know what? As you say, look, we know in soccer anything can happen. But if this game was played again tomorrow and suddenly if Sunderland win this one 3-0 tonight, I'd still play Coventry because everything points towards it. And, you know, like we talked about in a coin toss, you know, if you're getting 3-1 on a head and it turns out a tails, it's not the wrong bet. It's just the wrong outcome. So we go again and keep that value. For me, the value is with Coventry. You've got to play them in any of those aspects.
Byron says Coventry a 0-3 corner start is plus 255. That's a Steve Ladders special, if there ever was one. Steve says his ladder's in the shed at the moment. The Night Fox Spy says that Sunderland won't lose. Be close, though. As far as I'm concerned, I'm naming this as a betting weekly community bet. We're all on Coventry. Obviously, I'm on Coventry, Jack's on Coventry. Most of the commenters are on Coventry. There's a few dissenting Sunderland fans. When we back on next week, if we get it wrong, we get it wrong. But this is a good community bet for us, I think, tonight. Incidentally, most of the money, 93% of the money, 9% of the tickets have come on Cov. Most of the money is on overs as well. We've had $1,000 play on Coventry, over 3.5 total corners at minus 303. So someone just trying to nick a little bit of money there. Both teams' scorers failed to hit in 8 of Sunderland's last 9 games. The under 2.5 goals market has hit in 8 of Cov's last 9 EFL Championship night matches. This is a night match, obviously.
The Night Fox Spy would know all about that.
And Troy's confirmed it. Is this the firm confirmed betting weekly live community bet Coventry Moneyline versus Sunderland? Is the official pick? We don't track the picks on the live show. It's something that we're thinking about.
We might start after tonight. We'll see how it goes.
If this one wins, we're going to start tonight. If it doesn't, it'll start on Monday. Brad bets footy. The match in the Bundesliga looks prime for goals this weekend. What are you talking about? The Wolfsburg Hoffenheim game. Well, why don't we move on to Wolfsburg Hoffenheim then for you, Brad?
Seamless.
Seamless. How about this? Wolfsburg are plus 132. Hoffenheim are plus 185. The draw is plus 260 here. Wolfsburg have been on the beach for a while. They have lost their last 2 and 6 of the last 7 and haven't won any of their last 8. I mean, we're going down Sunderland territory here. But the thing is, Sunderland have got something to play for. Wolfsburg have got nothing to play for. Can't go down. Can't get European places. Hoffenheim, on the other hand, they are in 15th position. They're 5 points clear of Heidenheim. They're probably safe, but if they lose their last 2 games and Heidenheim win their last 2, then they could drop into that relegation playoff spot. Holstein Kiel might have something to say about it as well. That's probably unlikely. But the fact remains here, Jack, that Hoffenheim probably need... I mean, they probably don't need something, but if they got a point, that would be enough. The problem with Hoffenheim is they cannot play for a draw. They don't know how to. 4-4 the last game against Gladbach. They were beaten by Dortmund and Freiburg by 3-2 scorelines recently. They just are throwing the kitchen sink at trying to get just enough points, the 1 point that they need to stay up. And I thought that this is massive goals, over goals. This would be, one of the best plays of the weekend, or at least Friday. And then Hasenhüttl was sacked from Wolfsburg, and they've got an interim boss in Daniel Bauer. And I always think, I don't know about you, but, interim bosses, what do they do when they first come in? It's a situation where they don't want to get beat. They want to keep it tight. They're desperate not to do anything wrong. And this kid who's come in, because he was a player not so long ago, and he's been their under-19 coach recently, so he's assimilated with the club. The quotes that I've sort of picked up here is like, it's all about football. It's been my great passion for many years. He wants to prove himself. So this is not a guy who's like, I don't want the job. He wants to make an impression here. And I guess, he's like, I'm going to make an impression by not getting beat. I'm still going to play overs, by the way, because all the stats point to overs. I don't know if you've got any angles in for this one. I mean, I can't back Wolfsburg up as favourites. I don't really want to back Hoffenheim because they're a bit too chaotic. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, much the same. It's hard to take anything on say the money line here or side with a team because, as you say, you don't quite know what you're going to get. Interesting quotes from him, as you say, come up from the under-19s. A home game, I think if it was away, I'd certainly be looking at him potentially keeping it tight. I'm going to relate this back to my own side again that I've watched recently because Ralph Hasenhüttl has just been put in as favourite to become the new Norwich manager. He put in a couple of days ago, but then Jack Wilshere was expected to get it. It was announced today that he's definitely not getting it, Jack Wilshere, and so Hasenhüttl is now in as favourite for that. Craig Fleming was his assistant at Southampton, his assistant at Wolfsburg as well, who was a club legend at Norwich, and I think that's the connection there. That's also the connection, got it. But so I think with Wilshere, when he came into Norwich, same kind of scenario, 2 games to go, away game at Middlesbrough, it was a 0-0 tie, but then a 4-2 home win against Cardiff, so who are a lesser ranked side, obviously relegated at that point in time. And I just wonder if this is a home tie that he's got an opportunity to go and say, well, look, let's go and have a swing. Whatever the problems are, you often see it, don't you, that kind of coach that's in the background, that's had the players in his ear saying, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that, and those kind of things, has been that guy who's sort of smoothed things over a little bit and go, oh, don't worry, he'll be sacked soon and that. And then when I'm there, you can, and like suddenly you get a bit of an up spike, you get more effort, that they start putting their bodies on the line a little bit more. So I do wonder if that might well be the way this one plays out. Of course, Hoffenheim have got more need to win, as you've said, which kind of muddies the water a little bit, but I would expect goals in it. I don't think he'll go there to keep it tight. If he wants to make a show, to go and get a 0-0 or something similar to that against a side that looked like they could well be relegated, it's probably not going to get many people sitting up and taking notice, is it? So I think might go for a swing on this one and look to put out a bit of a statement. So yeah, I'd be happy to take the overs on that, on the basis to say, especially that Hoffenheim, they really need something still. And they've shown fight, don't they? They came from behind twice in that 4-4 you talked about. Excuse me, they were behind a couple of times and managed to come back. So showing that they're up for the fight to try and get the points to get over the line. But yeah, calling a winner, tough. I like goals. I picked a couple of players out as well, and I think one's already been mentioned already. Hložek. Adam Hložek, at minus 130 when I last checked for a shot on target. And I went Patrick Wimmer on for Wolfsburg at -105. So one from each side there for a shot on target in a game we expect to be full of goals, or certainly open and entertaining. Then, like say, have a little go on those for shots on target. I know not everyone can play it, but my main bet on this one is for cards. I've played that myself here, over 3.5 cards, which I think is a low line, especially if you've got a side fighting for a bit of survival here. They might all come from one side, but over 3.5 is quite a low line at -124. So that's where I've played my official play in this.
Okay, and stats bear out the cards play, Jack?
Yeah, Wolfsburg are number one as far as cards are concerned in
Right.
Bundesliga this season. 75 yellows, 3 red cards. Hoffenheim are down in 9th, but they're 6 as far as their away cards are concerned. 35 yellow, 1 red. The home and away averages are 4.5 and 3.81, so both over as an average across the whole season. What we need, 69% are seen over 3.5 for Wolfsburg home games, 56% in Hoffenheim away games, but more recently, it's 8 out of the last 10 Wolfsburg home games gone over the line, 6 the last 10 Hoffenheim away games, and there's been some big numbers over the last few. I won't go into the exact details of it, but there's some good ones in there, like 8 cards, 6 cards, 7 cards a couple of times. So referee Dr. Jollenbeck,
Of course.
exactly, you know him well, the good doctor. If he's a good or bad doctor after he's finished this game tonight, but he ranks 4th as far as cards average is concerned in the Bundesliga, averaging 4.63 per game, so well over the average that we need here. He's got shown at least 4 cards in each of his last 9 games, 3 and a red card in his last fixture, 2 and 1, 6, 5. So it's 2 and 1 red card, that is. 6 yellow, 5 yellow, 4 yellow, 9 yellow, 5 yellow, 1 red, 4 yellow, 4 yellow. That's his last 9 fixtures. The 5 yellow and 1 red was Wolfsburg as well. So that's the last time he refereed them.
Mm-hmm.
That was against Dortmund in December. And he refereed Hoffenheim against Union Berlin in September and showed 6 yellow cards in that game.
Lovely. Everything point. What's the line again? Over
3.5
over
is
3.5. Sounds
-124.
cheap. Sounds
It is,
cheap.
yeah. I think when you're looking at cards, if you've got, I always think if you're looking at 4 or more,
4,
then I'm happy.
Yeah.
That's a good line.
The boys on the comments are suggesting, Effie says over 3 goals Wolfsburg, Brad bets for over 3. I mean, over 3, last I looked was -118. I'm playing that tonight. Effie says Kramaric, good prop bet for goals and shots on target. Schlozek, as Jack was putting out, and Wimmer was the other one, neither of us can say it. Brad bets footy, giving us some good stats. Wolfsburg both teams to score 13 from 15 v Hoffenheim. And 10 of 11 at home. We're both struggling here.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And Hoffenheim, over 3.5, 12 straight matches. We're both dying here. Wolfsburg have scored in all 16 home matches against for Hoffenheim. So all the stats.
We're so
bear
overworked,
out.
Dan. We're so overworked.
Well, no, we are. Our voices are going. I'll tell you what, I'm so busy this weekend as well. Voices are going. Looks like COVID might be back after all, says Joe. Yeah, Brad gives us all the stats. Look, I'm going to play overs on this one, even though there's a new coach. That just put the sort of slight doubt in my mind, but I think we'll be all right with that one. We need some water from somewhere, but my glamorous assistant she's in the other room at the moment. Let's and unfortunately, I'll tell you what. Let's do the last Palmas game next. Steve just thought that Sean Dyche was on the show for a second. Yeah. Let's do last Palmas. No, I'll tell you what. My voice is returned. Let's do Milan next because I can rattle through this one, and Jack might have a drink, and then I'll leg it to the kitchen. Right, this is Milan Bologna tonight. Milan are +130. Bologna. +210. This one 2:45 Eastern tonight. Massive scrap for 4th place in Serie A. Milan are not part of the equation, but Bologna certainly are. Bologna are +450 for a top 4 finish, and a win at San Siro will see them jump to 4th. They're currently 7th. That position, incidentally, doesn't qualify them for the Europa League. But one of these two teams will make the Europa League. Why? Because they play each other in the Coppa Italia final next Wednesday in Rome. So this is a dress rehearsal for the Coppa Italia final next Wednesday. We'll be previewing that game for you. Incidentally, Milan are favourites for that Coppa Italia final at -125, Bologna at -106. Sergio Conce's out under a bit of pressure, no doubt about that. The interesting thing here, just looking at one or two websites over the course of the last few hours today, and Gazzetta had it in Italy, Conceição has switched to a back three, and it seems to have worked defensively. They've only conceded 2 goals in their last 4. They've generally been an overs team over the course of the season, but there is a suggestion that unders might be a play here. You know, under 2.5 is -121, over is -112. That's factored in. Both teams are expected to rotate. It's interesting that we've highlighted Jimenez, Pulisic and Abraham. There is a suggestion that Pulisic might not start. Don't think Conceição's going to rotate the back three of Tomori, Gabbia and Pavlovic. Vincenzo Italiano is expected to rotate. All of the websites suggesting he's going to mix and match for this game and maybe prioritise the Coppa Italia. We'll see. Dan Ndoye is out, so he's not listed there in our first and anytime goal scorer list. Orsolini, been banging on about him for the last couple of years. Terrific winger. He's plus 275 to score first. Bologna, says Effie, have been awful away. Milan can't win at home against the top teams. Lean Milan, draw no bet. Don't mind that. I mean, I'm going to play unders here. Milan versus the top 6 at home have all gone under. I know that Bologna aren't in the top 6, but they were the other day, and they're sort of borderline. They've been in the top 6 for last week. The games, 5 games against the top 6 so far. Napoli, Inter, Atalanta, Juve and Roma, all at home. They've all been under. So Milan, as Effie sort of points out as well, have struggled against the better teams here. So I'm going to play under 2.5 goals is going to be my bet in that one. In terms of where the money has been going here, 78% of the money, 88% of the tickets on Milan. Most of the money's gone over. As well, we've had a $1,500 play on Milan under 6.5 corners, and we've also had an $1,100 play on Bologna plus 0.5 on the Asian line at -150. Bologna have just, I don't know, they looked like they were going to be good for a top 4 spot, and they've just sort of struggled a little bit recently. A few too many draws, unfortunately. 3 of Bologna's last 4 Serie A night matches have resulted in a draw, and the under 2.5 has hit in each of Bologna's last 6 Serie A matches. So there's a lot of signs for unders, and it's almost an each or 2 situation. So I'm going to play unders. That's the bet for me when it comes to the Milan-Bologna game tonight. And to wrap things up, we've both got some thoughts on the Las Palmas game against Rayo. Jack, Las Palmas plus 135, Rayo plus 205. I mean, we're getting into sort of must-win territory from a Las Palmas point of view. They're 3 points from safety. Tend to think, Jack, that the money line is sort of framed around that. I mean, Rayo, they've won 2 of their last 11. There were 6 in February, looking, you know, big minus money to get a European spot. Now it's not certain because there's 4 points between 7th and 12th. 8th does get a Conference League spot. It would have been a bit better in Spain, but obviously Athletic Club got knocked out of the Europa League last night, so it's changed the equation a little bit in terms of who gets what in Spain. I can't back Las Palmas at plus 130. They're in the drop zone, Jack. I have got a couple of bets tonight, but what do you think on this one? Are you backing Las Palmas at 130? I mean, a Rayo, a good thing. We had a Rayo draw no bet right at the top of the comments, I think, tonight. I can't. They just seem a little bit, you know, near the top of the beach index at the minute. What you got for us?
Well, they've still got, as you talked about it, so tight there for that kind of last spot for the European places in Spain. They've still obviously got that to go for. That would be big for them. And so it looked like they were nailed on, didn't it? Until they've had a right collapse over the last few weeks. So you'd think that they'd still have enough element in them that they'd want to go and win this to look to qualify for Europe. Then players must be on decent bonuses to get into that kind of thing. So that's the incentive as far as they're concerned. Surely you'd think that, and against the Las Palmas side that you know obviously have lost a lot and they're in trouble, and you know their managers come out and said that they're really up against it now to survive. So again, so you think they'd have a go at it. I don't. These odds for me, I think, or people bet them that they need to win, so I'm going to bet them. Well, yeah there's a lot of things I need.
You know, they're in the relegation zone for a reason. I never saw. I mean, I know that it has to be a factor, and I'm always interested to see how much sort of percentage points you put into, you know, must-win factor. Will talks about it a little bit as well, but you know, they're bad teams. Bad teams don't get better just because they need to win. You know,
exactly,
anyway,
exactly right. You know what I mean? You know, I've needed to date Rihanna for years now, and it's still not happened. But like, I mean, it's what can I do? I keep trying, but if you listen, Rihanna, you know. But anyway, unlikely. Yeah. So yeah, I think they said what has changed about it? Yeah, not a lot. Like I say, if you see a complete uptick, if there's a new manager comes in, or a striker's come back from injury and he started scoring goals for them and stuff like that, and we've obviously got our good friend Ollie McBurney there, sort of in decent form at the moment, so there has been a little bit of an upturn in it. But yeah, for me, I don't feel that they can flick the switch to go and play against a side or win against a side that have been consistently much better than them over the course of the whole season. So yeah, if pushed on that, then I'd suggest that I'd be looking at something on Rayo Vallecano, be that the Tino bet, or going all guns blazing and taking them just to win it.
Brad Betts Footy's got some good stats. Las Palmas conceded 15 and 16 league matches. Rayo conceded 15 and 19 league games. Byron says Rayo's press will give Las Palmas all kinds of problems. That's if they're at it, Byron. That's the thing. Are Rayo at it? I mean, 2 wins their last 11 just suggests to me that they're not at it. I looked at half-time here. I looked at Rayo half-time, Tino better, +1.8, because Las Palmas, even when they've won games, they've won them in the second half. They've been very, very slow starters. And they've only scored 3 first-half goals since December the 7th. So they've been slow starters. I looked at Rayo, Tino bet, first half at +108. But, look, I'm not going to put that up as any sort of play. I am going to put a shot on target and a score and assist man up. But you've got a play. We've got one player each, I think, that we want to talk about here. Jack, go on, you can go first. You've gone for a Rayo man.
On the other lines we haven't really mentioned is both teams to score is the one that does stand out a little bit as far as the Las Palmas games are joint highest as far as that metric is concerned across the season, and is a backable price at -125. So that's an option. I say, especially with a game where both sides, if Rayo are serious about getting into Europe, then they fall behind here. They'll look for the win, and of course, if they take the lead, then Las Palmas is going to be throwing everything at what they need for a survival bid. So that does appeal when it's kind of a little bit of a winner takes all affair, which it is to a certain degree. But yeah, the player is a player I've liked a lot over the last few weeks. I've backed him. I think, in fact, one of the last times I was on here, I put him forward as a shot on target. That price is a little bit too low tonight for me to put forward, but it's Alvaro Garcia of Rayo Vallecano. The selection I've gone for is to score or assist at +215. Spent a fair amount of time on the bench, but he started the last 13 games for Rayo, and he's had a shot on target in each of his last 12 games for them. Now, he did start against Las Palmas in the reverse fixture, and he had 4 attempts at goal, but none of them were on target. But I didn't mind that too much because he clearly wasn't in the form he's in now at the start of the season. So he was in those positions. He had the opportunities and didn't quite make the most of them. You'd assume against this Las Palmas side that haven't changed too much in that outside of things, that he'll get those chances again. And this time I would expect him to at least test the keeper. But say I'll take him to score or assist. So he's done pretty well across the season so far, as far as his numbers are concerned. So that's the man for me. I'll take him as to score or assist. 3 goals, 5 assists for the season so far. Not massive numbers, but certainly his more recent work's been a lot better.
I looked at the Las Palmas angle for my player here, and Fabio Silva, we have listed Fabio Silva, and Wolves fans might remember Fabio Silva. Cost a lot of money, but he's been missing last couple. There is a suggestion he will be back tonight, but it's not for sure. He is the favourite in the anytime goal scorer market, as you can see there at +255. He is Las Palmas' top goal scorer this season with 10, and he's got the best shot on target ratio of anyone in Las Palmas squad tonight, 0.96 per 90. In terms of the players who had the most shots, that is Melero, who is +120 to have 1 or more shot on target, but his form recently has really dropped. He's not listed there. And I looked at the top sort of 5-6 players for Las Palmas. I didn't want to pick Ollie McBurney, but I'm going to have to, because his numbers recently. I listened to a few sort of Spanish podcasts at the start of the season, and he was getting a lot of love for his energy and effort, but he wasn't really contributing in terms of goals or assists. And then he lost his place, and he was mainly used as a substitute. But he has started the last 6 games. He's had a shot on target in 4 of the last 6 games. He's scored or assisted in 4 of the last 6 games. So you could argue that the former Sheffield United and Swansea striker is in the form of his Spanish career at the moment. And given he is minus 115 to just get one shot on target, and he's plus 230 to score or assist, then, you know, as much as I'd like to go a little bit hipster with Fabio Silva or Malero, I'm going to have to play Ollie McBurney tonight. He's got 6 assists for Las Palmas, which is a team high this season.
Yeah, interesting. Those 3 there in the market. Someone that kind of flopped at Wolves, someone that didn't quite cut it at Sheffield United and Swansea, and an Everton reject. So it's
who's the
can't
Everton
work out
reject?
What Sandro Ramirez.
Oh, really? Is that the same one?
Yeah, I did double check that to make sure it was. I think it is the same one. It is the same one. So I can't work out why it's gone wrong for Las Palmas anyway. But I tell you what is surprising about Ollie Meatburney is, have you heard his interviews?
No, he's not gone Steve McLaren on us, has he?
No, absolutely. He's nailing
Nailed
it.
Spanish.
Yeah. Indeed. Una cerveza, por favor.
What have we got here? Jake says, I've done Sheffield United Orient double on the outrights. Hope Sunderland do well. Don't particularly like Coventry. Jake, we're all on Coventry tonight. Just because you're a Villa fan, we're all on Cov tonight.
Midlands bias.
Yeah, just don't do us to that. Right, that is pretty much your lot. We have got a couple of specials that I failed to mention. Milan to score at least 2 goals and to win against Bologna is a house special at plus 165. Las Palmas to win both halves against Rayo is plus 650. If you think they'll win both halves, that seems a bit of a stretch, but you never know. They're in more need, I would have thought, than Rayo. Effie says, for those interested in the German second tier, Köln, -1 in a game that's just about to start in less than an hour. Reckons that Köln is the play there. As regards the where the money's been going in this game, 64% the money, 55% the tickets on Las Palmas. Most of the money has come on the overs as well. Both teams to score has hit in each of Las Palmas' last 4 La Liga matches when they have been favourite. That bears out what Jack was talking about, but the underdog has won in each of the last 3 La Liga matches between Las Palmas and Rayo, which would maybe point you in the right direction, or in the direction of Rayo. Let's recap before we go. What's your best play tonight, Jack? What do you think? What's the best play? Best play tonight?
It's got to be Coventry to win.
It's got to be
simple as that. Keep it simple.
We are all on Cov here. We are all on Cov. It's one of them. Yeah.
Sorry, Jake.
Sorry, Jake. We're all on Coventry here. Sorry, Sunderland fans. Cov is the best bet for us tonight. Lots coming away over the course of the remainder of today. Don't forget, of course, we've got Betting Weekly Hardball coming up a little bit later on. We've got Betting Weekly Fast Break as well. Baseball and basketball shows respectively with all the latest market movements and picks from Doug and the gang. We have got the Premier League show out already with myself, Jack and Nigel. The European show is out about now, I think, or will be out shortly. Looking ahead to Serie A, La Liga and the Bundesliga. So plenty upcoming over the course of this weekend for bettors. We'll be back, of course, on Monday. I'm not quite sure who's on Monday, but we'll be looking forward to all of the action on Monday night. But have a good betting weekend, Jack. Enjoy the spring sun in Norfolk. What are you doing this weekend? What's your plans? Going to the game, taking it easy. Chroma.
Yeah, I'm going to take it easy. Chroma. It could be Chroma. Who knows? Wales next to sea. I'm in Essex currently. I'm now going to pack the car up and I'm going to head to Norfolk, where I'm going to be there for a week. I'm going to spend a week there as my birthday's coming up. Yeah.
Is it really your birthday? How old? Many happy returns. How old are you, Jack?
I will be 51.
51. Well, many happy returns for your 51st birthday. Hopefully you enjoy your birthday. Let's wish you some birthday winners over the course of this weekend. Many thanks.
I need them.
Many thanks to everyone who's tuned in tonight. Good luck with your bets this weekend. If you're tailing us on the Cov game, we're all on tonight at around about plus 120. Fingers crossed that Frank Lampard can get the job done. Come on, Franco. From all of us for now, though, it is goodbye.